Hello, welcome everybody to our What's Coming Up Next for the Open LMS team session. My name is Madison Zimmerman. I am the Community Initiatives Manager here at Open LMS. We have a very exciting session planned for you with some great members of our team. So thank you for joining us. While we wait for some people to hop in here, I wanted to prompt everyone to jump over to our community. If you haven't explored our community site yet, it's wonderful for everyone who is or isn't an Open LMS client. It's a great place to talk to other people that are using a bunch of different e-learning products. And we actually have a poll question over there. The link was just dropped in the chat for you to check in with the fellow members of this session and the APAC session that we already had. And this will be the same poll we'll use for a coming session in Spanish. To learn more about the people that are on this session, on our community, and see where they're coming from. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speakers here. Our presenters today are Phil Miller, Pablo Bourbon, and Jeremy Schweitzer, and they will introduce themselves a little bit more as they hop in. So first, I'm gonna have Phil join me here, and he's gonna kick it off for you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I hope nobody from our Asia Pacific crew is joining us in the middle of the night. But we want to just share a little bit of an update on what's happening at Open LMS. So we're going to talk about our team, how it's changing and growing. I know you work with some of our team all the time, but we want to make sure you know how things have changed and grown. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've done in the last 6 months, some of the accomplishments that we're pretty proud of. And then we're going to talk about where we're headed. We want to mostly look forward. We're also going to talk about the work that we've been doing in the open source community, open sourcing our code to make sure that the community has ownership and can improve it. We've got a big announcement coming around launching our new academy. And then we'll talk a little bit more about our plans for the future, but we're also going to talk about why we do things, which I think really matters. So let's dive in really quick. I want to give you an update on the team. The team has grown so much in the last year. We're now more than 150 people. It's about 160 or so. Plus, our parent company, Learning Technologies Group, has another over 1,000 people that are part of the team. We're spread all around the world. We've got offices in Melbourne, Australia, and Adelaide, Australia. We've got a lot of folks, including Pablo, who you'll chat with in just a minute, from Bogota, Colombia. We've got some folks in Baltimore and actually spread. I think Madison is currently in Montana. And then we've got some folks in the UK and in the rest of Europe as well. We even have a few people in a little bit more remote places for most of us, like the Republic of Georgia and Vietnam. So as the team has grown, we've also kind of grown in diversity and location around the world, which actually really helps us be able to serve 24/7 in a much more global fashion than we've ever been able to do before. And we're just really excited about that. So let's talk about some of the things that we've been up to over the last few months since the beginning of the year. So just since the beginning of January, we've hosted over 30 events with more than 5,500 registrations. Lots of really great events ranging from how to better use digital content to different instructional design techniques using video in your courses. Our team, as I mentioned, has more than 150 members. And I'll make a little plug here. We have a lot of open positions on our website right now. If you know people that are very talented and that you as a client would love to work with, if they were part of the Open LMS team, please send them our way. We would love to talk with them. We've open sourced 15 plugins already. We made a commitment earlier this year that we were going to open source substantially all of our software, and we're well on our way to doing that. It's been fun to watch that expand. We've added millions of users to our overall user base that just continues to grow and expand. And our community site, which is where Madison just pointed you all to take the initial poll question, has grown to more than 1,100 members, and it's really starting to become an active place where community members can help each other out. So we're just delighted about what has happened with the business over the last year, and we're so thankful that you guys are a part of that. So let's talk a little bit more about where we're headed and why we're headed there. And so to do that, I'm going to actually call in a colleague of mine, Pablo Bourbon. Pablo, I'm going to pass it off to you down in Bogota.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you everybody for joining today. It's really exciting for me to be here. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Pablo Orbon. I'm located in Bogota. I'm Senior Director of Growth for Open LMS. I've been working on this industry for 11 years now, 7 of those with Phil and the Moonrooms team originally. So it's really exciting for us to share where we're heading in terms of providing context on some of the exciting stuff that we are going to announce and share with you today. So let's start and take a look. I figured that it will be something worth mentioning here, and that's the objectives that we have set ourselves to do. And there's a particular reason why we want to share this with you, and that's because it's all about you. We have built this in common with the rest of the groups that we have been integrating as part of our journey here in Open LMS. We have had so much fun building those, but we also learned so much about what we have in common, right? And everything that we have being nurturing in terms of our experiences and the types of products and vision that we want to build. It represents our vision, our beliefs, and it's all about you. That's something that we want to be very clear about here. As we become a bigger company, as we grow in terms of the company, but also individually and as a group, we want to remain humble about the attitude that we have towards our market and our customers. It is about serving you, and that's what we want to translate here. So we're going to take a look at the objectives, but also how those translate into real value to you guys. So let's start with building the best edtech team in the world. That's a big objective for us. And in terms of what it means to you, it has a couple of very tangible ways, right? The first one is we are hiring more people, right? Like we are growing our offices in Colombia, in Australia, in the US, in the UK. And that's something that will add into the service experiences that you have. It's not only about contracting more support people or people that directly interact with you, but it's also about hiring more developers, hiring more quality assurance analysts, and more adding more to our teams in order to serve you a better product. But it's not only about that, it's about upskilling and making sure that our teams have room to grow in their practice and integrating that into our product. And guess what product we are using to do that? We are using Open LMS work to do that, and we are creating learning paths. And it's something that we are starting. We also have started work on the leadership front. So stay tuned, because that's going to translate into very significant elements for you. And at the end, it's also about leveraging our diversity as a team. We have team members, as Phil mentioned, in many places in the world. And that represents, if you can go back, please, for a second, that represents also an opportunity for us to get to know different ways in which we can serve our customers and integrate practices across the different geos that we have.
Sorry, minor computer glitch there, Pablo. Let me just make sure that comes up properly there. The slide deck had a mind of its own.
Yeah, that's the beauty of going live, of course, and I appreciate it. So
I gotta keep my presenters on their toes. I can't make it too easy for them here.
Absolutely, yeah. Happy to be the one that goes through it, by the way.
All right, here you go, Pablo.
Yeah, thank you. And the overall exciting that we have here is we have more people, more diverse experiences to nurture all culture and the way that we are serving our customers. Our second objective, of course, is obsessing about the client experience. And there are particular ways in which we want to do this. And the first one is about feedback, right? We want to hear from you. And it's not only about the product and the roadmap and building the next features and what you want to see in the product. It's also about holding us accountable, right? We want to hear what's good, what you love about us, but we are very interested too in getting to know what we could do better for you, right? And we want to have this open channel. It could be the community, it could be any of the ways that you have to contact us. So we maintain a transparent attitude towards what we are bringing to you and how you react to that. So that's absolutely important for us. We're also building a culture of innovation. If you see the right side of the screen there, we are testing and experimenting with new ideas and new elements to bring you value into the product. We believe that it's not about just incremental innovation. It's also about testing and seeing what other big bets we can do to serve you better and provide you with differential value. And it's also about the resources that we can build and bring to you. We know that it's not only about the platform, it's not only about the tool itself, it's also how you make use of that. And so we have been investing in eLearn and other initiatives that we are going to talk about today to provide you resources to up-level your practices, to maybe share with your teams and integrate into part of your day-to-day, so you can be more effective and more efficient using our platforms and making sure that you succeed in this path that you have been working with us. Our next objective is growing our community, and that's a key part of what we're doing even in this event. And there are two interesting elements that we want to highlight in this one, and that's first, we talk about that in our team, but this is also true in our customer base, and that's the diversity of customers. It provides a lot of insight into many different ways in which we can serve you better. Let me give you a couple of examples. Optimizing our mobile experience and our graphic themes in order for them to perform really well in areas in which maybe there's not a great internet access or very limited bandwidth for people to connect, has also led to optimize that experience for the rest of the customers, right? And that's an area that we want to keep investing. Or how we have helped a couple of customers that we had in Latin America that had huge requests in terms of performance and simultaneous users in our platform to take quizzes in a countrywide examination project. That also led to some incremental and interesting elements that we added into our infrastructure to support customers in Japan, right? We maybe don't have exactly the same use case, but they do require the performance and require those extra tweaks that we have done in the infrastructure. And that's starting to appear more and more as we have served customers in different regions. And the second factor of that is the diversity in terms of the markets that we serve. We believe that we have this unique opportunity to connect two different markets, the corporate one and the higher education and the education in general, so they can talk and understand and have maybe discussions that will reveal new opportunities to collaborate or even to find opportunities to work together. Because at the end, we believe that learners are for life, right? And if we start providing those mechanisms for those leaders, for those organizations to connect with each other, that will be an amazing result of the things that we are doing in our community. So that's something that we want to keep pushing on, because we believe there's huge opportunity for our customers to meet with each other. And the last one of our objectives is to simplify. And we want to make sure that we are clear about this, and that's is simplification, not in the sense of reducing staff or laying off people, or words that people use around this, like rationalizing or anything like it. It's not like that, right? We shared already that we are hiring more people, that we are growing our teams, that we are actually growing our investment. What we mean with simplification in our teams, and especially how it relates to you, is about reducing friction. And that's why we have this image, right? Is we want to remove any elements that don't create value to you. If we are getting in the way of you experiencing value, or if we're getting in the way to accessing great content or learning about new practices, we want to optimize that. We want to make it easy for you to use the products, but also to get access to new practices and to share and connect with other people. So that's what we mean with simplification. And we are really excited about the work that we are doing here. So without further ado, I want to toss the microphone to Jeremy, who is going to talk about the actual initiatives that we're working on related to these objectives.
Thanks, Pablo. And I'll do my quick intro. I'm Jeremy Schweitzer, a senior manager in customer solutions. I happen to be one of our staff that's based in the Midwest of the US. So welcome to everyone, no matter where you're joining us from or watching this recording later. And I'm going to talk about our open source project. And one of the questions that often comes up is, why are we doing this? What's the kind of purpose and driver for doing releasing our code as open source? This is work that we've done putting together, and why are we just giving it away? And fundamentally, it comes down to this idea that it's fundamentally the right thing to do for our customers and the broader community. There's a lot of business and technical reasons to do it as well, and some of those are that we're wanting to better engage with our community. So our purpose is to provide the tools and resources for everyone in the world to be able to develop and offer amazing educational and training experiences. But it also allows us to give true freedom of choice to our customers. They have the ability to use these tools outside of just our ecosystem, but we want to try and engage with people to come and choose us as their provider because of everything else that we offer, our services, our support, and just being really good at what we do, hosting and providing this entire range of services and resources. And it's also just to provide that long-term stability for this entire broader community, really investing in growing the capacity of everyone to do learning and development so that everyone has the right tools to do their jobs and to produce new content, new ideas that everyone in the world can benefit from. And from here, we're going to move into actually talking about what we've actually released so far. So earlier this year, we made a commitment to release even more. So since that commitment, we've released 15 new plugins. These are available through our GitHub. So you'll be able to go and find and read through release notes for any of the plugins that we've released. And while we've only done 15 since this recommitment to open source, we already have 62 total plugins out there. So this isn't a new initiative for Open LMS. It's just a recommitment to these ideals and these kind of practices. Of those 62 that are currently out on our GitHub, Snap, one of our themes, is the most popular. And the most recently released plugins are the course size report, which gives you an ability to look at the total storage size being used at different levels, such as the category, with the ability to drill down and look at how large a course is and how many private files someone has. The bulk block creator, which is a great little tool if you don't want to use the Moodle sticky blocks kind of model or any of the other options currently available to you. This block gives you the ability to go in and create copies of a block in every single course in a particular category, which can be really powerful and effective for those types of integrations that require a unique instance of each block in each course. And then lastly, the restriction by release code, which is a great little plugin that extends the capabilities of the access controls to be able to basically add kind of, we call it a release code, but you can think of it as a password to lock access to particular resources within a course. So it just extends existing capabilities that already are in Moodle and just makes them better. So what does this matter for the rest of the work that we're doing? Fundamentally, our commitment to open source ties back to everything that we are building. And so related to that, I'm going to talk first about our Edu product, so our flagship product. So what's the latest on Open LMS Edu? We just had a release a couple of weeks ago. This release brings in all of the amazing core features that are available and part of Moodle 3.10. So if you're not familiar with some of what those are the big enhancements are things like H5P and content bank improvements that make it dramatically easier to use H5P in graded situations, the ability to download course content kind of in bulk, and lots of other fun little enhancements. But then beyond just what's available in 3.10, we've added a lot of features that are part of what Open LMS does and adds to add value on top of the great foundation of Moodle. And those are things like our redesigned centralized content management tool. So the CCM on the slide, that's our centralized content management tool. The enhancements are designed to make it friendlier, easier to do, and easier to use, and more modern looking. And for those of you that don't know what that feature is, that's really one of our tools around creating a centralized repository of master resources that can be reused throughout the site. So you can use that to create master SCORM objects, page resources, and a variety of other kinds of content that you can just reuse in multiple places. There's also been multiple enhancements to the user experience, such as improvements in the navigation options in Snap, and our continuation of our commitment to accessibility. accessibility and our commitments to that inform and impact every stage of the development process. The work on accessibility and accessible design never ends. It's always an evolving process with the goal of continuing to make our products better in every way and available to everyone regardless of ability. So then we also are going to be talking about our work product, but a question that comes up often is, how do work and edu work together? Is this dividing our thoughts and resources? And the answer is no, they really do work hand in hand. And as part of our new and enhanced work offerings, we've really created a bigger, stronger development team. We have long had a work-based product, formerly known as LearnBook. We are launching that as Open LMS Work now. And that is a product that hundreds of clients around the world are using and have been using for a really long time. So we have a lot of data on what those people and those types of clients need, and a lot of information about how we can take that work and use it to benefit all of our clients, regardless of product line that they're using. So a few examples of that are the workflows. This is functionality around creating site-wide rules that will eventually flow into our edu product. Personalized learning designer, something that many of you might know as PLD, is something that was originally developed for our edu product, but is coming to our work product. And part of the work around that was improving and streamlining the code, modernizing it to make it easier to make updates in the future. So the work done to better integrate it into our work product directly improves the product for all of our clients. And then also new and enhanced reporting options. The reporting needs of our work and edu clients are very similar with a lot of overlap, but minor differences between them. And those different needs drive us to improve the reporting products for all of our clients, regardless of product. So now we've talked about how the two benefit one another and support one another. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Open LMS Work. So as I said, this is a rebrand of a previously existing, well-loved and well-used product. So what we're really just talking about here is some of the enhancements that we're building on top of this. So the top line kind of feature that a lot of people have questions about is multi-tenancy. We're really building on top of the product the ability to create multiple tenants. And what we mean by that is the ability to create spaces that can be branded individually for particular groups of users, the ability to delegate administrative functions to a sub-admin or a tenant admin, giving them really the ability to manage their own users, create their own users, have content that is unique just to their tenant. And you'll see a lot of exciting new work coming around that in the coming weeks. We've also have a new theme. So this is an example of that kind of showing right here. This is an early version. There's some enhancements coming beyond even what you can see in this screenshot that really allows us to support that multi-branding that we are working towards. And we're also doing things around that reporting, like I mentioned. So new reports and reports that pull in new information so that if you are a site level admin, you can see reporting across all tenants. And if you are a member of a tenant, you can see the reports that are relevant just to the access level that you should possess. And then we also have things like video by Instilled. That's a great example of the power of our broader LTG family. So Instilled is another member of the LTG family, and they've got a product, Video by Instilled, that allows the creation of robust learning experiences using video. We have a deep integration into the product that has already been available for our edu product for a few months and is being released and rolled out right now to those of our clients that are on work. So one of those examples of both where the power of being part of LTG is available to our clients, but also where things that are developed for one product benefit all of our product lines. And then we also have the personalized learning designer coming into work and the site-wide rules, which are called our workflows, which allow enhanced automation of activities and functions throughout the entire site. So we're really excited to show you the new version of Open LMS work, and more will be coming about that as we get ready to release that in the near future. So what else are we doing? We provide great products. We provide amazing service and amazing support, but that isn't everything that someone needs when creating their learning ecosystem. They also need to be skilled up. Sometimes you have people that have a lot of understanding of their industry and of their own company, but not necessarily the learning and development skills to create courses, to manage an LMS. And that's really where our training and related services come into play. So related to that, we're really excited to announce that coming soon will be our Open LMS Academy, which will give us an opportunity to provide great training and resources to not only our clients, but the broader community. So this is not something that's just limited to our clients. When it launches, will be available for anyone to sign up for. We are starting initially with some of our paid offerings. Those are typically courses that are hybrid in nature. There are online resources and activities to complete, but also facilitated conversations. So you'll be able to sign up for an account and purchase courses, and be able to dive into those courses. Those are coming soon, but over time, we will be building on top of that to add more offerings, such as some self-instructional courses and some free offerings as well, as part of our commitment to help growing and strengthening our community. For some examples of courses that we're going to be offering, we have previously offered Fundamentals of Online Learning, LMS Administration, LMS Training, Strategy and Pedagogy and E-Learning Tools, Build a Better Course, and an Accessible and Inclusive Design course. That actually is one that we have a session that will be running coming up in the next couple of months, I believe. That will be a really exciting class to really learn more about how you, as potentially a site administrator or content creator, can really keep accessible and inclusive design in mind and make choices to make your courses more accessible, more easily ingested and engaged with by any of your users that are going through your courses. So we're really excited about that coming in the coming weeks, and look for more announcements as we get closer to launch for that. So we've been talking about all kinds of resources as we've kind of been going through today. So where can you get those resources that we've been talking about? There's been some of that as we've called out, but I wanted to talk about a few of them specifically here. So we have our GitHub, that is the Open LMS GitHub, where you can go and review any of the code that we've released. We are continuing to release new code there on a regular basis, both new plugins and also updates to the existing plugins. That's a great spot to be able to engage with us if you're another developer, or if you're just someone that's running a self-hosted site that wants to download and explore some of our offerings. If you have questions about it, you can engage with us both on GitHub, but you can also join our Open LMS community. So our community site, which we referenced at the beginning of this call, is a great place to dive in and get a chance to talk to other members of our broader community. That community is open to not only our customers, but anyone in the world. It's really a space for people that are interested in Moodle, in Open LMS, in e-learning and professional development, where you can go and find different channels, different people that are part of this broader community, and start a conversation, ask questions, really share resources. And if you're someone that is really interested in some of our plugins, it's a great spot also to engage with us. And that is a great spot also to just find out what other topics people are asking questions about. When I'm really stuck on a problem, I find just figuring out what other questions people are asking sometimes really helps me refine what challenge I'm really trying to solve for. One of our other really exciting initiatives is our free Content Fridays. There is a link that you'll be able to go to sign up if that's new to you. If you've already signed up, we are releasing new content every Friday. It's a great way of seeing the content that our team is putting together and building. These are free resources that we're releasing as SCORM objects, so they're compatible with all of our products, but they're free no matter where you're hosting these resources. So if you're interested in just finding out what kind of content creation our team specializes in and the kinds of content that we're building, the free Content Fridays is a great way to just get a sample of what that looks like. And especially if you're a small team, a great way of getting some content that may be helpful for you to fill out a site or even just start to explore. Maybe you've never used SCORM before. So these are some great examples of, well, maybe we want to use some SCORM content, or we know we've got some SCORM content coming, but we want to make sure that we understand how it works. That's a great resource for pulling some of those down and just getting familiar with what our offerings are. We also have the eLearn magazine. This is a magazine that we put out really to help support this broader community that we're talking about. So there are featured articles about things that clients are doing, but also that people that aren't clients are doing. We are always looking for great case studies, whether you're a client or not. So if you have a really cool project that you're doing related to anything that you kind of see, you can go read the magazine and get a sense for what kinds of articles that we are putting out and working on. Reach out, talk to us. You can do that in a lot of different ways, but one of them is also just by starting a conversation in the Open LMS community. And then lastly, this one you probably are all familiar with, since that's probably where you're watching this, but we also have our YouTube channel. There are all kinds of great resources that you can access there. Anything from our live streams to past recordings that we have done. Another great thing that we've been doing lately is pushing out video overviews of some of the open source products that we're releasing. So that's a really great way to get a sense for, well, how would I use that release codes plugin? What are some great use cases? How does it work? Why might I care that you've released that so that I can grab it down, integrate it into what we're doing? And if maybe you're a client and you've never used that tool, maybe it's a great way of also looking and saying, oh, I've never thought about using it that way. And it might help you find new ways of using your existing site to really expand your capabilities. So I recommend taking a look at our YouTube, really exploring what the offerings are there. There's always new content. So if you don't see something you're excited about today, take a look in a couple of weeks. There might be something new that you're excited to look at then. And I think I'm going to turn it over back to Maddie now. So thanks, Maddie. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Thank you. A lot of humanizing moments today. Thank you, Jeremy. And I'm going to add all of our speakers to the stream here so we can kind of wrap up with a little chat. But I want to push everyone back over to our community site for a second poll while I and all of the people here, we take a look at the responses to the first poll. So the second poll is all about what you'd like to see more from us. And I want to remind everyone while we're getting into kind of this end part, please, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I have some questions ready for our speakers that I've gotten previously that I think everyone would be interested in hearing more about. But if you have any more, please post them in the chat here and we will address them moving forward. But one thing that I always think is interesting to look at is where other people are coming from. As Pablo mentioned, diversity of our community is super important as we're growing. And so it was very interesting to see on the first round of our poll, we actually had 67% of people attending these sessions were from higher ed, 20% from corporate, 7% from nonprofit, and 7% from K-12 organizations. So it's cool to see that wide base of people joining our community. And I'd be interested in hearing from any of our speakers if that breakdown is kind of what they'd expected to see from our community, if it was something different than what they thought,
I was thinking that because we're still in the Western Hemisphere and U.S. and Europe largely on summer holidays, I was surprised to see that many higher ed folks out. That was a little bit good, but I'm excited. Thanks for coming.
Burning that summer oil.
Yeah. Shouldn't you be at a beach somewhere or something like that?
I think we're moving into back to school time. I know our team is getting ramped up for it. So I think people are easing their way back in.
My children start to kindergarten on August 3rd, which seems really early. So anyway, it's that time of year.
Yeah. Well, I'll jump over to some of the responses to our second poll, which is, what do you want to see more from us? And the top vote here, which is very exciting to see actually based on some of the community initiatives we're already running, is 50% of people, their highest priority was seeing more facilitated discussions about e-learning topics. And so that's exciting because we have launched our community speaker series initiative. We've had one session so far, with another coming up in September, which is just that. So that was great to see more from the e-learning community. I hope all the speakers here are ready to talk more about e-learning then on some discussions.
Sure.
And then next up was 30% of people were very interested in seeing self-paced training, 10% in instructor-led training, and 10% for more open source code. So if anyone just answered that question has any specifics they want to dive into, but I think that our team set up some exciting things here. Jeremy mentioning the Academy and talking about open code as well. Right now we're going to launch the Academy with facilitated courses, but there is, our team's working on some self-paced training to include in there too, as we branch out into, servicing as many people in our diverse community as possible. So that will move us on to questions. I am going to remove this slide from the stream so you can see people better. But in the name of facilitated discussions, since we haven't gotten any questions yet through the chat, I have one for the team, which we got previously, which is Open LMS is now made up of 3 companies. So moving forward are the eThink, eCreators, and Open LMS brands one unified stream, or do they have different spaces and different niches? So I will hand this over to our speakers.
Yeah, so the short answer is that we're becoming more and more like one company. I mean, at the end of the day, those 3 companies were all Moodle companies that were delivering great service and support on top of Moodle. And over time, we see those brands going away. In fact, you'll see some of that happen over the next few months as we start to merge some of the brands together. And I want to be clear, it's not about, we're not shutting those other companies down. They're just becoming part of a bigger and more holistic company. So we've been so impressed with the talent from all 3 companies that were coming in. And so we're delighted to be able to put them together into a team. And there's a lot of focus on really making us act and operate like one company. There are still some rough edges, even things like that some of you might experience, like contracts or other things that have different words on them. But at the end of the day, we are one company. So you'll see that continue to become more and more one over the next months and probably years, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you're definitely seeing that on the customer success side. So those of you that are seeing our support or currently onboarding with us have already seen the combined team and the benefits of that by pulling together the best of our support and solutions architect people. We really have started improving process and just making sure that the clients have someone local to be able to engage with as well. That's been one of the major benefits of growing into this larger global team. We're more likely to have someone that's a little closer to them versus what some of us individually were capable of doing before.
Yeah, that's also why we wanted to share the objectives that we have as a company today, right? Because we have built those together as we have integrated more people in our teams, and they set a direction. The actual how we do that, we have given our team some freedom to figure out, right? And it's amazing to see some of the initiatives that they have been working on and how to translate ultimately into more stuff for you guys to experience.
The next question, I will jump in, and anyone please get started on this, but I'd like for each of the speakers to answer if they can, is as the three of you kind of all sitting within different parts of the company, what are you most excited about kind of moving forward, next steps?
I will say what I'm most excited about right now. We were just talking about being, ready to go back to school. And I know I'm saying this in the middle of COVID starting to resurge a little bit, unfortunately, and it's terrible, but like most schools are going back into a more normal school this year. And I'm just really excited to see what people learned during the pandemic about e-learning, how they're going to blend their courses, what they're going to do differently now, given what we've learned over the last 18 months. I mean, it's terrible that we've had to go through that, but I think everybody's learned a lot. So I'm excited to see what creativity and things people are able to apply as a somewhat more normal back to school season starts for our education clients in the next few weeks and months.
And I'll jump in and go. What I'm most excited about is partly what I've been spending some of my time on. So I've been deeply involved in the Open LMS work project. So I'm really excited that we are getting so close to the spot where we can start sharing what we've been building in more public ways and really let clients get their hands on it and dig into the details. So I'm really excited to see what our clients do with this new version and all of the new possibilities that it opens up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a minute to recognize the question that we have in the chat, and I'll then go to my answer. Is that indicates what options from other companies are available to LMS users have added to our LMS sites. And the way that this will work is we don't have a list. It's not something that we can go and check. It is becoming slowly part of the releases that we do for the products, right? So you will see those on the release notes as we get to integrate them and as we evolve the products together. And
I would recommend everyone just reach out to the support team via ticket, and they can kind of talk you through your site specifics about what could also just brainstorm what could help you solve the problem that you're looking to solve or add to your solutions, because they'll know your site best.
Yeah, that's
exactly cool. Because some of those options are things that can be deployed relatively quickly, because some of those offerings are content or other kind of consulting services. So your support team or your account manager should be able to really figure out what those options that might be helpful for you and surface those to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking, Leah. Now, what I'm most excited about, I'm probably going to follow Jeremy's trend here, and is the stuff that we're working on the growth perspective. And that's, we know that the product already serves a lot of flexibility and a lot of cool tools for you to use. We want to focus on making sure that you discover those faster and that it's easier for you to adopt. And not only for you as administrators and as leaders of your organizations, but also to your users, right? So if we can reduce the friction, we can reduce the time that you spend on training people and actually just getting the right content or getting the right tools for the right moment, that's an awesome objective for us to work on. And we have some initiatives that we're already working on. We would love you to become part of that. There is a group in the community in which we're starting to explore some of these ideas, and there may be an opportunity to help us beta test some of those in your institution if you want to. So yeah, that's something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming, and it's always interesting to hear people's perspectives from across the company about what's kind of top of mind for all of them. And thank you for your question, Leah. I hope we addressed that. If anyone has any more, like I mentioned, please put them in the chat here. And if you have any that you don't feel comfortable asking in a large forum, please know you can always reach out to contact@openlms.net, and we can address your questions. Or if you're a client, you can drop a support ticket and our support portal and ask a question. Obviously, the community is a great resource for that as well if you want to kind of crowdsource your answer a little bit more with our team alongside a bunch of other, incredible users in our community. Well, if we don't have any more questions coming in, I think we can wrap up here. But I want to thank our speakers so much for taking the time to join us today and dive into this topic. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, please do reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer them. And this session will be available as a recording at the same link in which you found it. We'll also send out an email to everyone who registered now and after the session's completion with a link to this. So thank you so much. Thank you to our wonderful speakers. And we hope to see you at another event soon.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.